Hello, my name is Dan Tempest. Today I want to present to you my learning or my lesson plan on plastic pollution. This is a scientific lab done in a Principles of Sustainability class, which focuses really on environmental science. One of the big things we focus on in this class is how to solve problems. And in this case, this particular lab focuses on plastic pollution. Um, so we start with an anticipatory set in which we really set the tone. We're trying to grab their attention here. We show them two YouTube videos. They are linked here, as you can see. The first one looks at where plastic goes and what kinds of things that it can cause problems with in the environment. And the second one is really leads us into our lab, and it talks about how mealworms actually have an enzyme in their gut that can help them to break down plastic. And it focuses on how we could potentially use this enzyme as a solution to our some of our recycling issues. And it really draws a conclusion. So here's an image that we show them on these mealworms digesting some styrofoam plastic. And we really like to hone in on grabbing their attention. Why is this important? I really need to really show my passion at this time and really draw them in. Then we move into a discussion format. I'd like to do this as a think, pair, share type format where I would present them these four questions, these research and brainstorm questions. Students would work on them individually for a brief period of time, and then I would have them discuss in their lab groups. Come to really try to come to a consensus, or like some of these you can see we ask them to look at for 3 or 5 or 2 interesting facts. Try to come with like maybe their top 5, because likely there's going to be more than that number shared in the group. So try to come to consensus, and then we share out as a class, and just again have a discussion on the importance of some of these things, really tying in, trying to grab them in and show them the really important content that we're going to hit on in this lab. Then in their lab groups, they would design this experiment. So here's some things that we like to have as far as science skills and setting up a good experiment. So they need to have an independent and dependent variable and have units associated, some constants, things that they're going to want to keep the same, and then an educated guess on what they think is going to happen. This is an observation style lab. So here's their data table. They're going to set this up and make observations. This next part of the lab is what I added. So this was a reflection afterwards. So I added this for the next time. I had about 20 minutes left at the end of the laboratory. So I wanted to add this in. Basically, the students will be testing different types of plastic bags and their effectiveness, and they're going to be testing like normal ones, like brand name Glad ones, also biodegradable and other eco-friendly type labs, recycled plastics, and seeing if they're better. And we also look at the economics of that, because economics is such an interdisciplinary part of environmental science and sustainability. So anytime I can bring that in and make it relevant to the students is big. So here's some of those different types of plastics that we would be testing in that new part. The biggest thing is, how can I tie this all together? And that's where I use the claim. So they're going to have to draw something from that lab that they can come to consensus on as a lab group, that they essentially discovered what was something based on their data that they could claim. And then here's our discussion questions at the end that we would talk about as a class, as like a closure activity, where I can really ensure that they were able to make the connections that I was hoping for. And also tying back to that learning target at the start, that they could design, evaluate, and refine a solution, reducing the impacts of human activity. So were they able to find what was the potential maybe of this solution that they have? And really does a nice job of tying out that whole lesson together, and helping me as a teacher ensure that they were able to get to the main topics and content that I was hoping to in this lesson. So it gives me a little bit of feedback what they gathered from it, but also hopefully helps them to really digest everything that they looked at in that lab, and get the main points that I was hoping that they would. So I hope you enjoyed this presentation of my plastic pollution lab. Really fun one, and I can't wait to do it again next year. Thank you. Take care.